menus. So a lot of the people. But what else?
No, everything else is good. But listen.
Oh, those guys. Okay, you got to find Eric Blam through Joey. If we want to produce the show with Rutg, we can produce it.
Excited. Listen to Russell. To make your show exciting, we start out with current events. What are the things that are happening today that people can connect to, and then we move them into where they need to.
We're gonna do the iconic hip hop artists on a separate thing as a partnership with MC Light. We'll do every iconic rapper, all the way up to people like Snoop, who are still hot, but people have long histories, long stories to tell, and we'll get those stories, and then we'll do the whole truth. But
we need current event, Russell.
Gary, I understand. Gary,
you need to get your vaccine. You need to do this. Whatever you want to say.
Well, I don't need to get. Okay, I'll call you back. Gary, you're on. Gary.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll call you later.
All right.
What up, Phoenix, Ryzen? Hello. All right, so today we're going to talk to a friend who I've known for many years, who was involved in our hip-hop summits, where we had a summit called Get Your Money Right. And she was a financial expert who gave us advice on basic rules, promises, premises that we all have to live up to and know if we want to manage our money. And then we move from managing our money to making our money make money, and that's Lynn's specialty. So I want to have a conversation with her. This beautiful woman has been in my life for a long time, and she's been an inspiration, and then she's becoming a big success herself, making a lot of money, helping people make money. So that really excites me when people do what they love and they turn it into she's not on yet. Oh, Captain Dennis is on though. We're going to talk to Captain. The way we edit these things, the way we're going to edit them is mostly going to begin when they get on. So while I wait for her, I should just give a little more background. So her name is Lynn, and she's going to talk to you, and maybe you can follow her. You can learn about your finances and how to make them grow and how to manage them and how to be responsible from Lynn. So when she comes on, this beautiful black woman, this powerful, beautiful black woman, you are going to have a inspiration, but even more a wealth of information, which is what we need in the black community and all communities. People just don't manage their money well, and they just don't know how to make their money work for them. And I think she said one of her quotes, and maybe not, we'll ask if that's her quote. Her quote, I think it was, it's not how you make your money that makes you rich, it's how you spend it. Oh, that sounded good. Oh shit, it's how you spend your money that makes you rich, not how you make it. So let's see if we can get her and start this chat. Where are you, Lynn? There you are. It's not, come here, man. Come press some buttons for me. I see her. Lynn, could you request, Lynn? See, it's not, press a button. Send it.
Yeah.
Press it. No, down here, her name is Lynn. Here, right here. Press that.
Okay.
Not working.
Yeah, not working.
I know it's not working. I'll press it. Yeah, Lynn, could you send an invite? Because for some reason, this is why we should use Zoom. Why did you just walk away? Is there something we could do? Is it the internet?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, internet.
It's the internet?
Yeah, I think it's.
Let's try one more time. All these people are. So again, it's a subject that I've been my entire career I've been very careful. My money, the little money I've had, has been in convertible bonds, and you just walked away and sat out. Like, there's nothing we can do. Can we reboot the internet? I have a whole team here. They're just looking. Can we try again? Look at this. Now you're on live. Try again. Don't press that. There she is. She's asking to join.
Oh,
All right.
send request?
Yeah. All right. Look at everything is going back with your little sign fell.
Hey, we got it.
Hi, Lynn.
Oh, we're not going to give up. You can't fail until you quit.
For those who are, most of us will never see, most of the people who are joining us will never see this because this is pre-Lynn getting on. And most of the shows begin, oh, hey, there she is.
Yes. You can't fail until you quit.
Yeah, you can't. Oh, yeah, I heard that before.
That's your thing. Let me tell you.
Oh, I always say that.
We were in Washington at a big event, and somebody got up in the audience and said, Russell, what is your best business advice? And I was waiting. I had my notes. We were on the Super Rich tour, and I was about to write this long dissertation of what you said. You said you can't fail until you quit. So that's why I'm here. That's why we're here. That's a yogic, and all spiritual teachings say that you can never fail till you quit, and that this resilience and persistence is part of your journey towards enlightenment. That, this single pointed focus and this resilience, and also the realization that your work is your prayer. Yes. So when you're working hard, there's where the joy is, in the work. I mean, yes. No matter how rich you are, you can only sit your ass in one seat. Come on now.
I love you.
This is
why I want to hear from you. I hear my own shit all the time. But yes, Russell, you can't fail till you quit. And look at you. You worked so hard. You were a wealth of information and knowledge, and you were sharing it with all of these young people on our Get Your Money Right tour. And you were touring around the country, giving your time and energy to young people as to how they can start becoming financially literate. And you were doing this work, and there was all these artists, famous artists. Remember, we had Eminem in Detroit. He sold out. Yep. We had Lil Wayne in Houston. He sold out. We had Beyonce in Houston. We sold out. We had all these stars that joined us. And what would happen if they fill up an auditorium, as many as 10,000 kids, and we would speak to them about basic financial literacy. I remember Nipsey Hussle said the coolest shit. I didn't even know he was a star. I remember him saying it. I don't remember who he was. And then I saw the video when he passed, and that was his first time ever speaking at a major event. And he spoke to the news, and the media in the interview was so cool. And he talked about making his money grow. And as a really young kid out of the hood, the way he took the advice you gave and the way he shared that with the world was easy for anyone to digest. And I think that's what we have to do, is make sure that what we share can be digested, as opposed to just go float over their head. And I say that about spiritual messaging, and I say that about financial messaging. So you're a genius at giving people a way to easily apply these important messages. So tell us what you do, and first tell us what's your internet.
Well, let me start with my backstory that nobody would ever know. My grandmother raised me. I was born and raised in Chicago. I am a Chi-Town baby. People say, what side of town? I'm from the South Side and the West Side, which means I'm dangerous. I am ghetto and crazy. So it's all mixed all up in one. But my grandmother was 75 years old, cleaning homes to wealthy people, putting me through college. And the only thing I knew about money was if I needed some, I'd say, Grandma, I need some money for a field trip. She'd tell me to look in the room, on top of the shelf, behind the box, inside my pocketbook, inside a zipper, wrapped up in a piece of paper towel, $20. So I'd go, you know, that's how they did it. You know, that's how they did it. So when I got off to college, my grandmother taught me all the things that kids teach, that grandmothers and big mamas in our community teach their children. She said, go to school, get a good education, get a good job, go to church on Sunday, wear clean underwear in case you get hit by a bus. Because she rode the bus to church, to work, to church, everything else. And so when I got off to college, I got a bunch of credit cards. I couldn't pay anybody. I was at one of the world's greatest, academic institutions. So I got a bunch of credit cards, couldn't pay anybody. Fast forward, I graduate, my credit is jacked up. I have furniture from Rent-A-Center. My credit score is probably in the 400s. I get married. I'm become marginally successful. And I say marginally because I look like I was successful, but I was living a lie, Russell. You see, I was living check to Monday. I was helping people get their money straight. I was helping people buy homes. I was helping them get over their credit issues, but I was not living the truth. I was living check to Monday. Check to check is a blessing. That's when you get paid on Friday, and by the next payday, you're broke. But Check the Monday is a whole nother game. You get paid on Friday, you kick it on the weekend, you pay on your past due bills, and by Monday you're broke.
You save your tokens. I know we did that with the cocaine. My friend used to always like buy his tokens when he got his money, and then Friday night we snip up all his money, and he just could go to work. He couldn't have lunch.
Well, I didn't sniff it up, okay?
I didn't have a job.
Up your money. I didn't sniff up my money. You know, I tell people I had a problem worse than that. I wasn't
Check
on
the
drugs.
Monday.
I wasn't gambling. I had a problem worse than all that. I thought I was God. So, you know, when we grow up and you're the one in the family who makes it. So I was the one that everybody came for money, and I would loan money to my family members and my friends, even when I was broke. So they wouldn't think I was broke, which I was, which was a trick. And so fast forward, I'm making $80,000, $90,000 a month as a 30-some-year-old girl in Chicago, and I would be broke. Sometimes I couldn't even make it to Monday. I was living check to 2 o'clock. You get paid at 8 a.m. This was before they had Instagram and all of that. And by 2 p.m. I would be broke. And so what I learned, and this is what led me to the Hip Hop Summit Action Network, more money doesn't solve a money problem. If it did, millionaires wouldn't go bankrupt. And so until we learn how to spend less money, get more money, and get our money back, that's what we have to do in order to really transform our wealth in the Black community and in any community, to be honest.
That's fantastic. That story is amazing. Check the Monday is new. I never thought of that. Check the Monday.
Yeah, because I started
or check the Saturday too. But all of that, yes. Yeah. People, so many of us, you know, a lot of money comes in, and it never really builds or travels or becomes anything. It just comes in and goes out. And certainly, if you're talking to the hip hop community, a lot of young people, and on the sports community, a lot of the athletes, my goodness, they don't evolve into anything except where they came from. They go in a cycle. They get this minute where they're successful, then they go right back where they came from. And we haven't been able to build wealth in our communities, and certainly in those professions, the ones that we chose we didn't choose them only, but a lot of us think that those are the ways out of the hood. And you see these very famous people, and they haven't been advised by you or other talented people, and every athlete, like 80-90% of football players end up broke.
Yeah.
Right? That's the number?
That the number is atrocious. I talk often about Antoine Walker because he talks publicly about his story. And he had a $111 million contract in the NBA. He was in the NBA 3 years, he was out, and 5 years he was bankrupt. And people don't understand why. And what people don't understand is there are 3 things that you have to do to build wealth. One, you have to get more money. So we know how to grind. We know how to make it rain. We know how to go out and get the money. But you have to spend less money. You cannot spend more money than you make. It's a mathematical failure. If your stuff is 1 + 1, that's 2. If everything adds up to 10, it'll never, ever get into 2. So our job is to spend less than what we make. And what led me to the Hip Hop Summit is, you know, I talked about deals at the stake. Deals at the stake are items that we buy that you can't even burn them on the stake to 200 years ago or 300 years ago. For example, $5,000 rims on a $500 car, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 200, $300 pairs of shoes. And I tell all of my sisters, live by the universal purse test. If the purse costs more than the amount of money you can keep in it on a regular basis, leave it on the rack. And not the money that your sugar daddy gave you. No, you can't count that money because that's not your money. And do you want to be bothered with a sugar daddy? So you have to spend less money. Then you have to get more money. We have to not teach our children to go to college. Now, Russell, your kids are in college. My kids are in college. My oldest graduated from Northwestern. My 2 youngest are at Howard University. But we have to teach our children to create jobs. Everybody's an entrepreneur. So everybody needs to be able to build multiple streams of income. If you're a teacher, you still need a side hustle. If you're a doctor, you still need a side hustle. If you're a lawyer, you still need a side hustle. A side hustle doing what? Teaching, giving, preaching, creating other virtual businesses. So you have to get more money. But the third thing, and this is what makes me talk about Antoine Walker, you have to get your money back. You see, the wealthy have understood that if you drive your car, you just driving a car. But if you drive your car for business, you get your money back. If you go out to eat with your friends, you just went out to eat with your friends. But if you go out to eat and discuss business, you get your money back. If you go on vacation, you just went on vacation. But if you take a business trip and you discuss business and then you vacation on your free time, then you get your money back. And so Antoine Walker owed about $55 million in taxes on $111 million. Let me tell you three people who would not have paid $55 million in taxes on $111 million. The president, Mitt Romney, Warren Buffett. So wealthy people understand the money game,
Russell
and
Simmons.
they hire people to
I'm
help
not
them
fucking
master
paying
the
no
money
niggas.
game.
I'm not doing that. I'd rather take my tax money and give it to charity. I'm not
That's
giving
what
to
I'm
them.
talking about.
There's a million ways around it. Of course, philanthropic, social, political causes I care about. Giving it to my
Yes.
kids' trust funds. I mean, there's a lot of things I could do rather than give it to the government. I would love for the government to give equal high quality education, equal high quality health care. I would love for the government to use my tax money. But since they don't use it effectively, I could always feed the village next door.
Yeah.
Right? I could always feed my children or do something meaningful with the money myself rather than give it to them. And I think that's the
MC
problem. We
Light,
don't know how to do tax work, huh?
Yeah, MC Light and I, I started working with you with the Hip Hop Summit in 2008. You gave us your blessing. We created Hip Hop Sisters Foundation in 2012. Since 2012, Russell, 2012 to now, we have presented over $1 million in scholarships. We put 4 Black women through UW-Madison on $100,000 scholarships each. We put 4 Black men through college on $50,000 scholarships with our hashtag Educate Our Men. And I always told my colleagues and my friends, I remember you saying, Russell, back in 2008, you said, I'll pay taxes if you'll pay the teachers. You said, I'll pay taxes if you will put some water in Flint, Michigan. I remember you saying it. And so that was always my philosophy. I'll pay taxes if you do the right thing with the money. Come on now. But since you want, we need to pay
that's
these taxes.
look, we have a dysfunctional government, and we have corporations that run that dysfunctional government. It functions for some of them, whether it be the factory farming industry that's poisoning the planet and poisoning the people, and destroying our relationship with Mother Earth and the animals. We have the gun industry that owns our government. We have the teachers union, the most powerful union, one of the most powerful unions. All the unions and all of the corporate influence on our government, we can't get it right. It doesn't seem, years ago, then I tried to get, and I got a bunch of Democrats to sign on, but they just said that shit. They didn't mean it. This idea that we'd have elections and that we would fund those candidates that got to a certain point, so therefore there'd be no corporate control.
Yeah.
Remember I occupied Wall Street every single day.
Yes, I remember.
Because there's no government that without systematic change of it. We can't have money running our government. It is doing so today, and we haven't addressed it, and we just let it go. Next thing, every day there's some systematic shit we don't get to fix. I don't want to go on a tangent, but I was today working to try to get the NOBLE, National Organization of Black Law Enforcement, to try to work with Black Lives Matter to create a pact and promote an idea for the systematic change that matters. Because every day we're marching. And I'm going to go off this thing in a minute, but I was on my mind. I wanted to share.
Yeah, no.
We're marching every day to get somebody arrested over some incident when the prosecutors are controlled by the police union. So long as we don't create a new system where prosecutors get a feather in their cap, but they put you in jail, they get a feather in their cap. They put a policeman in jail, they get their neck chopped off. So we need to get them out of the control of politics. And that will change everything. Once we start locking people up, then they'll have education. Once we start locking people up, then their partner won't have a blue wall because he don't want to go to jail. And then once we have a real prosecutorial system that will put corrupt police in jail, we'll have a changed system. It'll happen almost immediately. Like when you pushed integration, it just got the laws have to change. You have to have systematic change. And I think that's in almost all these instances, it's not just a one-off. It's a system that needs to be made more. And that leads into whatever is 100 things that you have to talk about. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, you are absolutely right. And one of the things that I often say, when we started dealing with the systematic killing of Black men, My husband is a black man. My father is a black man. My grandfather is a black man. My brother is a black man. The chief marketing officer of my company is a black man. Like, you are a black man. When we first started dealing with that, Hip Hop Sisters, what we decided is this was something that was way bigger than us. However, what we knew we could do is what we could do. And so what I'm asking people to do is to do what you can do. And here's what you can do when it comes to your wealth. You do not have to spend money that you don't have to please people who don't matter. Rich people stay rich because they act poor, and poor people stay poor because they act rich. And poor people stay poor acting rich in front of other poor people, which is real crazy. Real crazy. So what I'm asking people to do is to do what you can do. I have this thing that I say every year. 'Twas the day after Christmas, and all through the house, every creature was hurt, even the mouse. The toys were all broken, their batteries were dead, and Santa was passed out with ice on his head. And Mama was sad because nobody was near to see the Christmas bill she'd be paying all year. I remember the first year I got married, my husband and I, we went and charged all the Christmas gifts. And the next year we were still paying the bills and had no money, and then had nobody to buy new gifts. So what we have to do is what we can do. And what we can do is stop the cycle ourselves. We actually have control of our money, and our money does not have control over us. And I can say that because in the last recession, Russell, I was on food stamps. The stock market crashed. I lost everything. My house was underwater. It was worth $100,000. I owed $400,000. And what I did is I simply stopped. And when I had nothing is when I started to learn how to truly build everything. Now, this is having a degree in economics, finance, and mathematics from Northwestern University. But I was an educated fool. So I think if we do what we can do individually, every single person, one person, get a financial education, vote, stand up for the causes that you believe in, then I honestly believe that we can make a change. I believe it. I still believe we can.
Lynn, listen to me. It is about personal responsibility. Every day when I sit and I talk about, I've been rehearsing. This is a rehearsal for a podcast. At some point, I'm going to start distributing these talks. We're going to edit yours and we're going to put information about you. But so this is a rehearsal. But I listen to these people, and there's a lack of knowledge about self, and the self-exploration is the only journey. So I do a lot of, aside from doing celebrities, I do a lot of yogic. You had a yogic priestess on the other day. I had a yoga master the other day. Other spiritual teachers, other doctors of, interesting people who have messages that really matter. I hate to say really matter to be dismissive of those other messages we're getting in our community. But we do live in a world that's highly polarized, highly dysfunctional. And we as individuals have to learn to function in that world by example, as opposed to followers. We know that society as a collective can go wrong. We saw them put people in ovens. We saw Rwanda. We saw apartheid and slavery. We see that just because they're doing it don't mean it's right. We're sure of it. And so we as individuals have to take stock in self. And self-love gives us a chance to not need stuff to validate us. And that's but the journey is inward. And then as you reach outward from a strong sense of self, and the self is this consciousness, this awareness that is so proud, and not in a negative way, but is so awake and aware that he gets or she gets divine instruction, and she operates from God. And by the way, we all know what God wants. It's not a, it's a what would God say? But God is in us. They answer right away when he asks that question.
Yeah. You know what you said, Russell? Your book, Super Rich, and my children who are adults now, they were little kids then. And you were in Chicago, and I remember it was so cold. When you got out of the car, you said your eyeballs were freezing. I'll never forget. It was really cold that year in Chicago. But we were doing the Super Rich tour. And Super Rich is the state of needing nothing. So when I teach about money, I teach people how to identify the state of needing nothing. Because when you need nothing, you have everything. So what does that mean? I'm so proud to know that you, who I've been proud of, and this is a personal, egotistical pride I'm carrying with me now. It's inspiring to me to know that my words are part of your seminars, because what you're doing for so many people
it warms my heart that I'm worth something, that I did something, because Lynn heard me and echoed my prayers. So that's beautiful. You froze. That's why we got to use Zoom.
In 2008. Listen, I filed bankruptcy in 2008. In the bankruptcy, I gave up my most prized possession. Outside of my husband and my children and my relationship with God and some chicken. I know you're going to beat on me because I still eat meat. But I gave up my Lexus. And this is what the state of needing nothing is. When I was driving my beautiful cream color champagne,
we're going to come back to that.
Lettuce,
we're going to come back to that.
Yeah, we're going to
come back to it. Some of your people, especially when I put it in a podcast, some of your people will hear what you said, and I'm going to have to respond to that.
Yeah, you are.
Because I love you. Because I love you, and I love whoever's listening, and I love whoever's going to listen. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to come back to that. Well, go ahead. You gave away everything.
So I gave up the Lexus, and this is what I said, and this is where I was truly in my spirit. This is what the state of needing nothing is. When I had the Lexus, I was happy driving it. When I didn't have the Lexus, it did not change my happiness. That's the state of needing nothing. And I drove my 2001 beat up BMW with no air and manual stuff. And then we had a Toyota that was beat up, and I was at peace. I was happy. I was whole. And in church on Sunday, let me be real clear. I am a ordained minister. I'm the pastor at Cali Worship, where Warren and Erica Campbell are pastor and first lady. When I would be in church, I would be writing. And I always remember you said, your work is your prayer. I'd be in church working. The sermon, I got it. I got the pieces I needed. But I'd be in my iPad, I'd be in my phone, because Sundays were always very creative days for me. You give me a Sunday. Holiness for me is giving what God has given you to the world. And so that's how I have been marching these past 12 years. I created Wealth Vision 2020 in 2008 with the belief that by 2020, I would have the ability to help people across the globe build wealth. And that's what we're doing right now today.
Well, I want to make sure that I keep putting on the bottom of the screen how we get to you, how we get your teaching, how we get to learn from you, all the brilliance that you shared with your personal clients, so they could then become your personal clients or join your seminars. Or I want to make sure that's the reason we're here, is to bring more people to this platform and this brilliance. So
yes, go to asklynn.org, ASKLYNN.org. Go to asklynn.org.
Asklynn.org. We're going to keep putting that on the screen. Asklynn.org. Asklynn.org. Okay, Lynn. There's a lot. You said a lot. I want to go back to something you said. I have to, because look, I have a book coming, promoting the shit out of it. It's a major publisher who's done all the research, so they don't want to get sued. One of the top publishers in the world, so they have to check every claim. And I can tell you that your chicken is far worse than beef. Certainly, as an African American, your chicken has more cholesterol than beef, and when you fry it, it's pure cancer. So the food is the reason we're dying, 3 times the rate of our white counterparts, and they're dying for the same reason. It was a report done early in Italy. It said 99% of the people, that was Italy early on, and I haven't seen the new research, but they don't talk about it, so you probably won't see the research unless you dig deep, and I'll do that now. I'll dig again. 99% of the people who died in Italy when it was the big pandemic early on, the first wave, died because they had pre-existing health conditions.
Yes.
Black people have pre-existing health conditions.
Yes.
All of it. We say we have diabetes and we blame sugar. It's a lie. The animal product. They say we have cancer and we have it from it's the animal product. They say we have even hypertension, or even if you have dementia, it's because the arteries are clogged to your brain, and it's the animal product. The animal product, and especially American diet, is the reason we're dying. They asked the vice president, why do Americans die at a far greater rate than all the other first world countries? So period, everybody probably, more than here for sure. I'm in Indonesia. A lot of people living in villages, really religious little villages. They don't even go see a doctor when they get sick. Why are they not dying? when they get COVID because they don't have the American diet. The American diet, there's 2,000 carcinogens or toxic ingredients that are in American products. 1,800 of them are banned in Europe. Your Dorito ain't their Dorito. Your chicken ain't their chicken. I hear you. You know that already, but I just want you to know that the reason that I lost 14 friends, every single one of them, even my rich friend over in Thailand, bank I met, I started to really go back. I have offices all over the world now. You know that, our new company. And in Thailand, we have two main offices. And I met this banker, a very successful guy. Died because of his diet. They all died because of their diet. Everybody. Yeah. So I just caution people, rather than caution them against the vaccine, which I reserve my opinion until I have to. But I know that we are sick and dying. And I know that there'll be a moment where, because so many people, if you have a pre-existing health condition, and if we don't alleviate this virus, you can't really only blame the American government for poisoning us when people here, rich people, are paying to jump the line for the vaccine. People in China are jumping the line to get the vaccine. People in Australia have jumped the line already and have gotten vaccines. Rich Americans are jumping the line and have scheduled dates for vaccines that I'm aware of. So I can't just say it's a trick for black people. Yeah. Although they haven't researched it enough to know if there's something different, like in the other vaccines, that affects black people at a different rate than it affects the others. Absolutely. So I just want people to survive, and that's why I wrote this book. It's a post-pandemic lifestyle. So, Lynn, black women are 2.5 times more likely to have heart disease than their white counterparts. 2.5 times more likely. Yeah. And they're 2.5 times more likely to die from COVID. If you have heart disease, it's waiting for you because it loves clogged arteries. It loves the clogged arteries. So that's it. That's the end of it. I don't want to preach too heavy. No, I tried to write. My last book was called A Happy Vegan. The niggas ready was mad at me. Like, yo, why did you write this? It makes me, I wrote it as nicely as I could. It's just the facts. The facts are we are dying because of the American diet. And we are dying. And, when they brought the slaves over, many of us came over. And they said, hunger strikes. We're not eating dead flesh. Yeah. Give us some okra. And, they literally, many of them, you had to go back and get food for them. Yeah. So they would not eat animal product, and they had a certain diet, and it wasn't. So the Irish didn't come here with corned beef and cabbage. They came with cabbage. Only rich people ate animals, and they were always nasty looking compared to the poor, who lived, even though they suffered in the fields, they worked and lived longer than the rich people.
I can tell you this, that sister that started the Slutty Vegan in Atlanta, and I think she's got
a business. You must be able to. A lot of black businesses. First of all, we're 3 times more likely to be vegan than our white counterparts. No one knows that. Because we have so much heart disease, so much sickness, and we have West Indians who told us in the beginning, don't fuck with animals. When I was a kid.
I can say this. Everybody around me just about is closing in on me. Elder Pierce is a vegan. MC Light, she halfway. I don't know what she eat most of the time. Jason, so y'all closing in on me.
You and Light are coming here. When you come here, I live in vegan Disneyland. I mean, I would have been, you people are COVID-y. I would have been there now and then gone off to St. Bart's with my kids. But it's so COVID-y. I didn't want to go anyway. So travel, 5 planes.
When we can travel. When
we could travel, you and Light come here. I built the Snoop Dogg house because I was thinking, even though I built myself a beautiful 5-bedroom house, I was thinking if Snoop came here, because he was like, I'm coming bring my family. Like, there's hotels everywhere, but I live in the forest, and I wanted him to come and stay with me in the forest, not in the hotel down the block somewhere. So I thought the Ming Lee suite, the Yoki Lee suite, the other nice room, Snoop Dogg is too tall. He'll stretch out and be like, fuck out of here. Even though it's beautiful. So I built a whole house, and I call it the Snoop Dogg suite. But it's a 2-bedroom house. It should be 3. It's an example of what I'm building on a property. I'm building like a rejuvenation resort. There's 100 people working now with all the modern technology for health. And I'm building another 35-bedroom hotel, which is a yoga school, a school of yogic science. Has 3 showers. And the idea to teach other people not to suffer. So I'm building that. And I have the shallows here that we film from. So I'm really building a nice little thing to deliver to the world something good. And that's my plan. The rest of my life is to save lives through some of the hard work that is not so hard. Like your work is not hard. You love giving people ways out. And that's what I see you smiling when you help people. So
I absolutely do. You know what's hard for me? My daughter, so super rich and all of that. My middle child is like the COO of the family. She could run the whole company, the business, mine, yours, everybody's. And so she practices mindfulness. I'm like, what is that? She's like, well, you have to be silent. You know, when I get silent, I get crazy. I'm like, I got stuff to do.
No. When I launch my book, I'm going to launch multiple programs. Meditation program, 7-day vegan challenge, 21-day vegan and reboot. I'm going to launch my yoga app. I'll let you in it free, which that's going to launch at the same time.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to get out of the suffering and to move everything forward. So many, and they're all written over and over again in scripture. They're not difficult to follow. So for you, meditation. And for thousands of years, they've been selling meditation, right? Yeah. So when I wrote the book, Success Through Stillness, I missed some research because it hadn't even come out yet. The last 5 years, the last 7 years, so much research. One thing, you reverse aging. They couldn't believe it. It was a cover of Science Journal. Reversal of aging. The second thing, your gray matter in your brain grows. So as smart as you are, the gray matter is where you retain energy.
I'm waiting.
All of these things that happen, happiness, you get a measured shift in your happiness. So, and you get more seconds of presence, which is the goal of life, is more seconds of, because the minute you get presence, that's the goal in life. That's it. Those seconds where you relieve the neediness.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what we're working on, lasting, stable presence.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is sit and be patient.
And when we relieve neediness, people will not feel like money has as much power as they think it does. And I don't say that to minimize anyone. Like I said, I've been through it all. I grew up in the projects. I did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I had to work for everything. But I am a witness. I filed bankruptcy twice. I've been in foreclosure. I've lost everything. So it was in that space. And
I hear you making a whole shitload of money. Should I not say that online? I heard you, my friend who works with you, so you're making a shitload of money.
You know what I'm doing? I am interestingly enough.
By giving what God gave you.
Listen, this is what my prayer was. My prayer was that I would be an example to be what I preach. So I make money because other people make money. That's how I make money. I help people make money. I help people grow money. I help people save money. And because that is what I do, it's not what I do, it's who I am. And because it's who I am, it's what I've become, and it's what other people are. So I am not successful unless thousands of other people are successful. And that's what I've done with my life. I've taken I've always known how to make money, always known how to make money. And I did not want to go back into this side. After I left my corporate job and I started working with the Hip Hop Summit and then started working with Light, my life was set. I was done. And I knew that there was more work for me to do. And the work for me to do was to give to others what God had given to me. And that is the ability to be still, to operate from the state of needing nothing. That literally is the core, because at the state of needing nothing, you don't worry, you don't succumb, you don't settle. There is no arrogance. It's simply a pure state of existence. And when you can operate from that place and give your true self, that's when money starts to be attracted to you. So yes, I'm very blessed and I'm very thankful to be able to bless so many others.
I always say you can only sit your ass in one seat at a time. And no matter how rich you are, you can only sit your ass in one seat, period.
That's it.
So, and so, you know, giving, the cycle of giving and receiving is something that you do a lot better when you're at ease. So whether of spirit, of money, whatever you give, if you give it from a comfortable seat, it'll really speed up. Lakshmi, the goddess Lakshmi, you see her standing and she's giving, and this is another image of her, but she's giving, and then it's consistent. And there's diamonds at her feet. So why is she giving, only giving, and why is it? Oh, because the cycle of giving and receiving speeds up when you do it from a pure place.
Yeah.
It works anyway, but we
Good
do it from a pure place.
You said good givers are great getters. The thing that I give most, so yes, people learn how to change their mind so that money will operate differently in their lives. That's really what happens. I teach people how to change their mind and how to find who they are truly at the core in the center. Because what they truly get, Russell, is power. And
Let
to
me
your
just say,
point,
guys, when you edit this, I want her information. We're going to pin it on the screen. So the entire time that she's speaking, her information will be there. There'll be photos and other things, but the information about how to work with her and get to her, because she's growing this beautiful business, and we want to get our people, all people, to learn to we live in a society with a lot of bad information, misinformation.
Yeah.
And a lot of and about culture, and about through culture and through social organizations and other places. We value things that don't really promote happiness. Now, self-discovery is the key, the process. But the more you know yourself, the less you need stuff, right?
Yeah.
You don't need stuff. And Lynn is asking you not to spend on stuff you don't need, sneakers you don't need.
Yeah.
They got sneakers.
When you find your power, here's the things that'll happen when you find your power. When you find your power, you will find your peace. When you have your peace, you will know your purpose. When you know your purpose, your provision is in your purpose. When you know who you are and what you're here for, you will not damage yourself. And to your point, you will not damage yourself with bad food. You will not damage yourself with bad purchases. You will not damage yourself with bad relationships. One of the things that I've been saying to my sisters, as beautiful and wonderful as we are, I am so tired of seeing people lose because of insignificant, significant others. They're talking about a significant other who's insignificant. And so there are many things that are draining us. There are people who drain us. There's a system that drains us. There's the food that we eat that drains us. There's the money that we spend on things that we think we need and we really don't, that drains us. And so what I teach is how to get to that place, because when you operate in your power, and your power is when you give without limits. Let me say this too. I have to say this. This is what I tell people about working, and work being your prayer, and not failing until you quit. See, I never worked for money. That's why I have it. When I worked for the Hip Hop Summit for 2 years, I didn't get paid, but I worked like I was making $1 million. So when I got paid, the paycheck did not change my work input, because my work input was already above. So when you truly give your best and don't hold anything back, don't think they're going to take advantage of me. Oh, what's going to happen to me? That's not your problem. Your problem and your job and your responsibility on this earth is to give the best of what God has given to you. And when you learn more, then give that. When you learn
That's
some
why
more,
the prayer thing.
that's
I don't want
it.
to cut you off, but that's the prayer thing. Your work is your prayer, because your happiness is in the present moment and nowhere else. And so when you're invested and fully focused on what it is that your gift is, when you're working, that's the prayer. Whatever brings you to the presence and full awareness, that's God's consciousness. So you get that through your deep invested or single point focus on your work. So your work, the return on your work, it just creates more noise in the mind, but the quiet mind is the happy mind.
Yeah.
So the noisy mind is suffering and the quiet mind is happy. So when you work and you're dedicated to giving, you can't suffer while you're fully engaged in work.
Let me tell you this. So I got married at a young age to a man who I love. Demetrius is absolutely wonderful. I mean, he is the opposite of me. I'm loud and crazy. He's quiet and calm. You know, I'll fly off to cuss everybody out. He's the one sitting there saying, okay, chill out. Now let's do this a different way. He truly loves me and I truly love him. We had a daughter. We had a big house, but I was depressed. It was in 1997 that I found my purpose. Accidentally, I started helping people fix their credit and get approved for mortgages. And I had a conversation with my husband and my daughter about 4 or 5 years ago. That's when I woke up. When I started to do what I loved. Now, I had a loving husband, loving daughter, living what's called the American dream. And I was content, but I wasn't happy. I was content, but I felt like I was missing something. When I started to do, and I didn't know who thinks you're going to be a financial expert, or who thinks you're going to help people with mortgages or real estate or be on the hip hop. Like, that's not something that you grow up thinking you're going to become. So when you do your best and you give the best of what God has given to you, that's when you find power, and that's where you will also find money. You will collide into it.
I like to say, for people who don't understand the philosophy of giving as a preface to getting, I say give until they can't live without you. And if it works with, you work for someone and you work hard for them and you don't get paid, it's okay. If you have no job and you sweep the front of a store, I use this example a lot, every day, one day the guy will maybe come out and pay you. But if he doesn't come out and pay you, the next guy will come out and pay you. The next to say, come sweep my store. I see your work, sweep in front of my store. And then he may bring you in. And if you're really a hard worker, then if you arrange the shelf right and you merchandise right, then he'll look to you and say, wow, that's nice. And then when he puts you behind the register, maybe you'll put together an accounting system for him. Maybe you only put a rubber band around the money, but then you put an accounting system in place, and then he makes you manager. So if you have a job even and you serve people, you serve them to the point where he runs off and leaves you as the CEO of a giant corporation with many stores. But you start out sweeping the front of his store, but you made that corporation. You made the equity in it. You built the giant. Kevin Liles came and built the company. It's a little company. Kevin Liles might have been sweeping in the front of Def Jam until one day he made it into a giant entity. And when we sold that company, he got a giant piece of stock. And Kevin Liles continues to flourish. He's executive of the year. He never looked to be president. Lynn, this is a great story. He never even wanted to be president.
Wow.
This fucker wouldn't. We tried to offer him presidency, and he said, no, it might ruin the corporate culture. Right. First of all, we already voted. Everybody's thrilled that you're the new president. So take the job. He didn't want the job. He just wanted to continue to serve because he was an intern, and before that, a street team member. And after that, so he just worked his way up. Yeah. And he worked his way up without asking for accolades, without asking for a raise, we put him where he belonged until one day the president of promotion hired the guy who worked for him and said, Russell, you should make him the president of the company because as a servant, you're a giver. And as a leader, you're a giver. Yes. It's the same job. You inspire people by your gifts to the point they look to you for leadership. You don't have to be given a title. All you got to do is teach people how to do their job, and they're going to look to you as their boss, even if you might have been there. And that just happens just by your focus and your dedication, your hard work. These things come together.
You reminded
me.
And
Lynn, you're an example of that in every way.
Give until they can't live without you. Now, then you got to watch out, because then, MC Light, that's my sister. It's like we have the same mother and father. I cannot tell. We fight like my two youngest daughters, Kennedy and Taylor. And it's truly been a blessing. I have to also say this. The one thing that I love about you, Russell, is that you always found ways to empower everybody. When we came and talked about Hip Hop Sisters, I had this long little list of things that I told Light she should mention in the conversation with you. And I wasn't going to come into the meeting, but you all had me come into the meeting, and you offered everything that was on that list. And then when I started working with her, I was working with her as a volunteer. And then she said that her attorney told her to make me the president. I was like, I don't want to be the president. Well, I became the president, right? And so I worked until she couldn't live without me, but not for her sake, but for the sake of all the people who love her. Look at her legacy. I mean, she's gone from being clearly the greatest female MC of all time to VO and acting. And so it was my job, and it was my goal, and it was my dream to help her and Lil Mama and so many others achieve their dreams. And so that's what we've been doing.
Lynn, I have to say that you have always been an inspiration to me. And, what you told me today some of the things you said, you don't realize they give me the gas to keep going.
Come on now.
So I really appreciate, that some of the words that I said and some of the things we did together were part of your journey to make you the person that you are today. And what you're doing for so many people, I feel now that I have a little piece of your credit. I feel like I'm with you helping people help people. And that is a phenomenal. And each one of you that you touches another. And, we know there's a ripple effect to your work. But it's growing so dramatically. So many people are counting on you and are learning from you and are making money because of you. That's people, I want to say this to people, people are making money because of Lynn. And those who want to make money, just listen to her schooling and you will be much better in whatever it is that you're trying to do. So that's very important. So I love you.
Love you, Russell.
Is there anything you want to add? I'm going to make sure that all the information about you, but let's say it again for those who are just on Instagram.
Well, I'm going to say this, the fruit of your labor. When I think about Dr. Benjamin Chavis, when I think about Valicia, when I think about Tanisha Jackson, when I think about Mayor, myself, the twins, you have given a lot to a lot of people. And it has been, it's been an honor to receive the information, but more importantly, it's been much more of an honor to be in position to share it with others. So everybody go to asklynn.org. I'm not calling any other year after 2020 its year because the numbers are getting on my nerves. So everything from this point is beyond 2020. What are you going to do beyond 2020? That's my question.
That's my question too.
Yeah. What are you going to do beyond 2020? Go to asklynn.org. Get your money straight. Get your credit straight. Build your business. Get your family in order. We have webinars on everything from money-making moms to how to build your business credit, how to protect your business, how to start a corporation, trademarking. I mean, so many things. And so many of our colleagues in the entertainment business have lost money because they didn't have proper trademarks in place. So we're a safe space. We're helping a lot of people all across the globe. I have clients in Panama, in Saudi Arabia, in Australia, Asia, every continent except Antarctica. And we're here. We're here. AskLynn.org.
All right. Well, I love you. Thank you so much. AskLynn.org. Lynn, I'm on a high. See, for you it's nighttime, but I have a beautiful day in front of me, and you're going to stick with me. Thank you so much. And I really, it's one of the greatest conversations because you make me feel useful. And thank you for that. God bless you.
I love it. God bless you, Russell. Love you. Have a great day.
Look at that. Sign forward.